Hello, hello. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever it is that you found your way to this video. And welcome back to Cosmic Lovers Tarot. Today I'll be doing a reading for Pisces, so you could be a Pisces sun, moon, or rising. And we're going to look at some changes that are taking place in your life right now. So going through a transition, we're going to looking at what shift is currently taking place in your life, what needs to be released so that you can welcome or invite this change into your life, and then how this will support your continued growth. So down here we're gonna pan out a little bit and see like the overall shift that you are experiencing. All right, I'm gonna get right into it. I'm going to pull an oracle card for you first from the Naughty Oracle deck. I like to go ahead and get the oracle card out there, and then we will kind of do a deeper dive into it. The oracle kind of sets the tone for the reading, and then at the end, I'll actually go into the oracle book and give you some journal prompts and affirmations. This deck is really good about giving you, actionable things to ponder. Let's go get a oracle for Pisces, please. Oracle for Pisces. I hope you guys are having a great day so far. All right, so we got dragon load of dense shit. Time for an energy clearing. Awesome. Yeah, so it looks like to me like whatever shift this is that you're going through, whatever this transition is, it is much needed. So this is going to be really fun. This is like the energy of like something really, really stale that is finally removing itself from the situation. So let's get into it. Oh, okay. Well, I'll take it. Okay, so right out the gate, the Knight of Pentacles just kind of flew out while I was shuffling the deck in terms of what your shift is. So this might actually be, okay, a couple different things. I'll get some more information when I clarify these cards in just a second. But this could be a shift in terms of your stability. So, but in a positive sense. So if you've been struggling to find stable housing or a stable job, or it almost feels to me like maybe you're one of those people. Okay, so there's like a trauma response thing that happens when you grow up in an unstable environment, or your household is constantly changing, or basically it's like chaos breeds chaos. So if you are, it's a trauma response to actually feel more comfortable in chaos than you do in stability. I think the message that we're getting here right now is that you're actually going to start attracting stability. And this is really cool because it means that this dragon load of dense shit, that's your trauma responses. So trauma responses can be really tricky and confusing because it doesn't make any sense. It's like the person that was abused by their father and then goes on to marry an abuser. It's like, why would you do that? If you're familiar with that style of abuse, why in the world would you link up with someone who is treating you the same way as that person that abused you in the past? Well, the simple answer is that it's because of your trauma. You formed a trauma bond with that style of relationship or that style of living. Maybe you grew up in a household of alcoholics and you don't drink, and yet you're continually dating or like being attracted to people that do. It's because you're running on an unconscious drive or a subconscious drive to attract you to situations where, unfortunately, that's where you feel the most comfortable or safe, is because that's what you grew up in. Now, I get the sense that like the universe doesn't like that for us, like, or our guides, they don't like that we are attracted to things that remind us of our pain because they want us to move out of our pain. And it's or move away from our pain into a place of peace, and where we are supported and we are loved and we are, treated kindly, the way that we deserve. And so, but there's a bit of this feeling of like you have to go through the lesson until you get the lesson. And there's also this sense of patience coming from this reading, like applauding your own patience and saying, thank you for staying the course. Thank you for not giving up hope. Thank you for not like, for some reason I would say like turning your back on the universe, but it's really more like you have kept the faith. And another thing I want to point out with these types of trauma responses is often you can feel like not unlike how this character, this Knight of Pentacles, seems to feel, where sometimes trauma responses can carry you forward, almost like you see how this horse like has no real identifying features. It's just it's almost blank. And and this person has her eyes closed and she's just like kind of trotting forward, and she's almost oblivious to like all this magic and goodness. See how like the universe, in the sense of this tree here, is like showering her with tiny little blessings, and she doesn't even notice because she's like being carried forward towards this by this trauma horse. So one of the worst things about a trauma script and operating from a traumatized script is that it can sometimes feel like you are being run by something that is automatic and you don't actually understand why you're doing what you're doing. If you're self-aware, you might look back at different points of your life and say, well, I don't understand why I ran from that connection. I don't understand why I ran from this person. I don't understand why it's almost like when things in your life start to go really, really well, you get scared and this trauma horse comes in and carries you away from it. It's like when things start going well with your job and then you sabotage it and you get fired, or things start going well in a relationship and you sabotage it and it's, you cheat on your partner and then you explode it, and then you're left like with the crumbling ruins of this thing going, why did this happen to me? Why did I do this? Well, that's why, because you're operating under a trauma script. So the cool thing is that you're coming into an energetic shift now where you are actually going to, you might have been doing a lot of self-work, or you might not even be doing necessarily that much self-work. It's interesting, but you might also just be going through like the school of hard knocks, like the school of life, I mean, we have this idea that in order to evolve spiritually, in order to be, clear out your trauma or, certain things, you have to do shadow work, or you have to do meditation, or you have to do this, or you have to do that. But also we forget and we fail to realize that life is teaching us all the time. And life is allowing us to learn lessons all the time. And every day we make choices and we operate in certain ways, and bad things happen to us and good things happen to us. And the way that sometimes it's almost like those lessons are going to find you whether you are actively searching them out or not. And that's kind of what's been going on with you. All right, so you're coming into a period of stability. This might feel pretty foreign to you, honestly. This might feel like almost like a little bit of too good to be true energy. There might be an actual person coming in your path, or someone, if you are single and you're kind of looking for a relationship, there might be a relationship coming that's going to really kind of blow you away and make you go, seriously, is this really happening for me? And there's kind of this sense here of, yes, it is, like you are allowed to feel this. Okay. So here we have for what needs to be released so you can welcome this change. We've got the Hierophant. So this, first of all, this is a very interesting Hierophant card, right? Because it's almost like it's a mother teaching her child. Now, I think personally that this has to do with, again, your script. This has to do with you releasing outdated ideas and perceptions about what type of love and what type of life you deserve. So you may not have been supported very much in childhood, And you may have had just like shit awful examples of how people should love each other and take care of each other. You may not have actually witnessed unconditional love in your childhood. And right now, like the cards, the universe, your guides, they want to acknowledge to you that that's not your fault, that you didn't know, you weren't shown an example of what love can really look like and what it should look like. And what needs to be released here is basically the whole book on everything that you think. Well, I don't want to say everything that you think you know about relationships, but it really is. It's almost like there's this urging for you to, there's this urging for you to go back to square one. Like, forget about every relationship that you've been in. Forget about every life that you've had. And what I really encourage you to do is, all right, so I'm just gonna tell you like a great meditative idea for you. Okay, so I want you to get into like a meditative state. So just close your eyes, find a comfortable place to sit. Close your eyes, take 5 deep breaths. You can actually pause the video and do this now if you want to. But I want you to take like 5 deep breaths and just really center yourself, ground yourself. And then once you feel kind of settled, I want you to just imagine your perfect life. Like, if you could design your perfect life, and I mean fairy tale perfect, every single thing that you could want. If you had unlimited money, okay, because money is often sometimes like a block to our ability to imagine things that are great for us. So imagine that money is not an object. You have all the money in the world. You have access to travel. You have access to go to school. You have access to do whatever it is that you want with your life. And then basically after you've done that, sorry, I'm just kind of winging this, but after you've done that, write it down. Like, write down what that looked like, and then actually start like taking actionable steps towards making that a reality. It doesn't have to be big stuff, okay? What I'm saying is, okay, say that you, during the course of your meditation, and I really want you to think that of the sky is the limit here, like no holds barred, your perfect life, your literal perfect life. And what the universe is trying to tell you here, what they're trying to say is that your perfect life is not out of reach. And your perfect life and the perfect life that you deserve, the partner that you deserve, they're actually like, your guides are saying that your dreams and your vision for the future is actually quite realistic. But because of the way that you grew up and because of the life that you were shown, you think that that's a fantasy or a delusion that couldn't possibly happen to you. But you're wrong. It can absolutely happen to you. And in fact, it more than likely will. Now, here's the thing. It's not going to look exactly like the way you imagined it, because what's the fun in that, one of my favorite things about the way that the universe works and manifestation works, and this is just for me personally, I can't speak for how this works to everybody else, but I daydream a lot, and I dream up a future for myself, and I actually pretend like it is a current reality. So what I mean by that is, if I'm walking around, sometimes I will have fake conversations with like a podcast host where I'm explaining how my dream became a reality. So like I put myself in the future, like 15, 20 years in the future, and I speak as if I'm in that spot. And I've been doing that forever. It's just something that I do naturally. And I didn't even really link it to manifestation until recently. And then I was like, oh, I guess I'm trying to manifest that. Well, so for a while, and this is one of my favorite things, is that often we get things from the universe when we need them at the right time, not necessarily when we want them, but when we need them. and we get what we need, not what we want. It's just like that Rolling Stones song. You can't always get what you want, but if you try sometimes, you just might find you'll get what you need. It's 100% the truth. And I've had situations happen to me where like, okay, so the easiest example is like, for as long as I can remember, I've wanted a pit bull, like a puppy, a pit bull dog. And so I started kind of lightly manifesting that. And when I was outside on my porch, like smoking a cigarette or just hanging out, I would imagine that my dog was there. And I named her Luna. She was a blue-nosed pit bull. And so I would just pretend like my dog was there, you know, like I was getting, like, and I thought it was funny because I was like, yeah, I'm like getting to know her before she actually shows up, you know? Well, wouldn't you know, like 2 months after that, my aunt and uncle brought home a Chihuahua for me. and it was crazy. Like they were at the SPCA and they were like, okay, Kara, this is really wild. Like I can't believe that we did this. We found this dog and she just seemed like she wanted to go with us. And I know that you weren't sure about pulling the trigger, but you just have her for the weekend. We just brought her home. No pressure. I took one look at that Chihuahua. Her name is Sparks now. And I was like, yes, that is my dog. And we have been inseparable ever since. That was like, let's see, I got her in June. So that was like a little less than, well, about eight or 9 months ago. So what I mean by that is like, you are going to be surprised when you manifest. Like, you're not going to get exactly what it is that you asked for, but oftentimes you'll get something better or something different. And I think that the universe does that to us to surprise us, because life is meant to be, you know, kind of an adventure and like and an unfolding story. And the story wouldn't be any fun if you knew how it ended, right? So, but the other like lesson here is that, yeah, just don't discount your dreams for your future and what you see for yourself. I want you to go back to the start of your life. Like, go back to the dreams that you had when you were a teenager, or when you were a child even, and allow yourself to believe wholeheartedly that is a reality that can actually come true for you. You know, just because it doesn't exist yet doesn't mean it can't exist for you. Meaning, just because you've never witnessed the type of love that you want, write it down. Be as specific as possible, you know? But first steps first is dreaming. I want you to give yourself permission to daydream to excess this week. I'm talking like just live in fantasy world and see what happens. And then all you have to do to start making these fantasies into a reality is just the act of writing them down is so powerful. Do you know that if you just write down what you want, you've already like exceeded what, I can't remember the exact percentage, but it's something like you've already exceeded what 80% of the population does. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just paying attention to your dreams and saying, this is something that I really want. And there's this feeling here that, you know, your guides are saying that, you are very loved, by the way. You are very, very, very loved. You are so loved. And you are also, there's this feeling of like, man, Pisces is way overdue for a gift. Way overdue for a gift. And there's also this feeling of it's going to happen no matter what, but the universe and your guides really want you to play with them. There's this thing of it's like, come on, play with us, like manifest, get your vision board out, come on, because they are so excited for this shift that's going to happen for you. They are so excited that like, and it's interesting because it's not something that most people would be like, wow, you know, like it's not like you're going to win the lottery, and it's not like, so your guides are saying like you have very simple goals, and the simplicity of them is what makes them so gorgeous. Like your guides are applauding you for like, I don't want to say keeping your dreams small, but keeping them like realistic, and maybe not even realistic, keeping them it's almost like your dreams are, you're dreaming for like stability. You're dreaming for peace. You're dreaming of a contented life. Like I'm seeing like like, you know, like a sweet elderly couple, not that you're elderly, but it's this idea of like, you know, a sweet elderly couple sitting on the beach enjoying the sunset together, maybe like going to the brewery and having a beer. Like, your life has been so chaotic and so stressful. Your early life was so chaotic and stressful that now you find contentment in this like very simple places. And that is really beautiful. And so yes, like, you're going to get that. And like I said, it's not something that would make other people swoon, you know, like your dreams or this shift that's happening for you is not going to be chaotic, because it's not time for chaos in your life. It's time for, you are reverting back. You are reverting away from chaos. So this is very, very, very exciting. So now I'm going to look at how this will support your continued growth. So like, this is the shift that's taking place. Now we're going to look at what your overall journey is what's going on for you overall. Just doing a little pan out. All right, one more shuffle. Oh, and this is the Tarot of Spells and Potions. So I will show that to you. Oh, interesting. Okay, sorry. All right. So this is it. It's the Tarot of Spells and Potions. It's a really, really sweet and whimsical deck. All right, so we've got both the 6 and 7 of Wands in reverse for you right now. So here's what we've got going on. Okay. Okay, so going back to your childhood. 7 of Wands talking about, you see how she's like, well, this is an interesting depiction of 7 of Wands, but she's not heard, you know? It's like 7 of Wands is about sticking up for yourself and holding your ground in a stressful situation. But I think that you were not allowed to do that as a child. I think that you lived a lot in your head. You lived a lot in your room. You lived a lot just kind of by yourself. 6 of Wands talks about being celebrated for a job well done. That was not the case for you. I think that in a lot of ways you were overlooked. You know, I'm seeing this as like a return to your childhood home, and you're like, there are no happy memories here for me, you know? Instead, you feel, I think you might have spent a lot of time with pets. You might have had pets that you were really close to. You might have escaped into books. You might even have gotten into magic at a young age. And I see some of you Pisces, I see you up in your room, like doing spells and stuff. And for whatever reason, like, you were not as supported as you could have been by your family. And that has led to a little bit of negative self-talk, but also a concept that I'm having a little bit of trouble describing, so bear with me here. But internal dialogue struggles, like, because you weren't able to advocate for yourself when you were young, you have difficulty advocating for yourself now. But what is within you is like this wealth of fire, and you have a lot of energy. And you have a lot of energy that is not being allowed to be expressed because there's a voice in your head that tempers that when it comes up. So, for instance, if you're overdue for a promotion at work or overdue for a raise, and your boss is giving it to people that you know aren't as qualified as you. You've been taking the extra courses. You've been getting the certifications. You've been staying late. You've been coming in early. Why are you getting passed over for a position? So it's almost like you have two sides of yourself. You have the side that goes, Pisces, advocate for yourself. Go tell him what's up, you know? And then you have this really sweet, gentle side of yourself that's like, no. I don't want to make waves. I don't want to cause problem, you know? And So both of your sides are being acknowledged lovingly right now. First of all, your guides really admire you a lot. They admire your ability to show restraint, but they also admire your fire. And there's kind of a feeling like it's time for Pisces to kind of embrace that fiery side, you know? It's time for you to stand up for yourself. So, but the cool thing is you don't have to stress too much about how to stand up for yourself, because what's going to happen is this Knight of Pentacles energy is you coming into your own personal alignment. Things are stabilizing for you. If you have been finding a difficult time finding stability with a relationship, with a partner, with a job, with housing, those times are behind you. Those times are behind you. And the changes that are taking place for you now are going to take place so slowly. This Knight of Pentacles is a very slow moving energy. So I'm talking, it's one of those things where, oh man, it's going to be so great, guys. I'm so happy for you, because what's going to happen for you is you're just going to be going through the motions, doing your thing, you know, going to work, and then one day you're going to look up and you're going to be like, damn, my life is pretty good. How did it get like this? What? Oh my God, when did my life get really good? You know? And so there's a lot of that moment, that thing too. You know, one of the things that comes up a lot with complex PTSD, which you probably have, some of you anyways, complex PTSD, for those of you who don't know, is a new kind of form of PTSD. I think I have a really good book about it. Let's see. Well, I have a workbook here. So this is Complex PTSD Workbook, a mind-body approach to regaining emotional control and becoming whole. So I have no idea why I showed you that, but maybe this is important for you. So you might want to screenshot this or jot it down. It's by Ariel Schwartz, PhD. Okay, so I have way too many workbooks, by the way. But, okay, so what I want to talk about with that is complex PTSD is not as well understood as simple PTSD. Simple PTSD occurs typically after one big traumatic incident. So that's why combat veterans have PTSD. Well, I don't even want to say one big incident. And I'm not like a scientist or a psychologist. I have an associate's in psychology, but I'm not a professional. So I'm paraphrasing this stuff. Complex PTSD takes place over a long period of time, and the reason why it's complex is it manifests in everyone a little bit differently. But complex PTSD comes as a result of emotional abuse, chronic neglect, sometimes physical abuse, sometimes sexual abuse, but not really. Sexual abuse and physical abuse are more in the realm of classic PTSD. So complex PTSD is confusing because its treatment is going to be very different depending on what the trauma was experienced and then how it was manifested in the person. Physical trauma is a little bit easier to treat because the body's reactions to physical trauma is more common across the board than the individual's response to emotional trauma. So for instance, the classic example that I could give you is some children, when they're abused, become abusers themselves, right? They turn into, not turn into, but they exhibit signs of maybe narcissism, or they act out, or they're cruel to other people. And some people instead withdraw and become very sensitive. I don't know why I'm going off on this rabbit hole. I'm sorry. But all I was really trying to say was that where was I going? Complex PTSD, and you put up a shell, right? You put up a shell, and what happens is over time that shell can become exfoliated and rub away, revealing a sensitivity. But if you have divorced yourself from your sensitivity for most of your life, as an adult, when that sensitivity starts to pop up, it can freak you out. It can make you feel what is going on. And I think that So for some people, that's their emotions, that's their tears. For some people, that's their rage. For some people, that's their passion. You can't selectively numb is one thing. So if you numb some of your emotions, you're also numbing all of them. And where I'm going with this is your transformation that's taking place for you right now is not going to be jarring for you. It's going to be very smooth. It's going to be very well-deserved and long overdue, but it is not going to be, it's not going to be like, it's not going to be like that. It's not going to be like this dramatic, okay, now we're, having panic attacks and all that. It's going to be very, very smooth. All right. Great clarification on this Knight of Pentacles. I'm just going to go a little bit deeper here and see if there's anything else I can get for you for in terms of this. Okay. Yeah, guys. Okay, so Knight of Pentacles clarified by the Seven of Pentacles. So yes, slow and steady. You are encouraged during this time to really take stock and like reflect on your past and not analyze too much. It's not really about analysis at this point. It's about self-forgiveness, and not because you did anything wrong, but I think there's a part of you that, like I said, oh, I know what I was going to say. Okay, so the part of you, this passionate, fiery part of you that wants to advocate for yourself and has big things to say to people and doesn't want to get walked all over, right? That part of you is going to be exfoliated and buffed out and is going to emerge as you continue on this path. And it's going to happen because with complex PTSD, I'm sorry, this was the original thing I was trying to say when I got way sidetracked and was like showing you workbooks and stuff. Okay, so complex PTSD has a way of waiting until you are stable to show you certain traumas, pains, emotions, okay? That's what happened to me when I had my emergence. It was insane, but yours is not going to be like that, luckily. But so it waits until you're in a stable place, and then you might have some memories come up, okay? That's kind of what this Seven of Pentacles is about. You might have some memories come up that are going to be unpleasant for you, but you are reminded that this is for your best benefit. And honestly, guys, when these memories pop up, you're going to be fine because you're going to be in this really stable, very secure, very safe, kind of protected energy. Can I get clarification on the Hierophant? I think for a lot of you, it's going to feel like a big release or a relief, to just have this gone from you, be able to move through this. One of the things that I say when I'm going through tough times is like, we can't move through what we can't see. Stuff that happened to you when you were a child, you can't see it. So how do you move through it? How do you confront things if you can't see it? So it's actually... It's good that we can see these things. When past memories come up, if you're meditating and you have a past memory come up from something that happened in childhood, good. Welcome it, because it needs to appear so that we can say, yes, hi, I see you. And that's kind of the energy of what we have going on for you. Yeah, okay, so Hierophant clarified by Ace of Swords. Yeah, this is all about uprooting entrenched thought patterns, guys. Swords rule over thoughts. And in reverse here, this is a return to a previous way of thinking. And you're taking your knife or your sword shovel and going, nope, that's not okay. I don't think like that. I wouldn't behave that way. There was something that happened in your childhood that made you, some of you swore off love. Some of you were just like, nope, I'm not going to be like, or you might have sworn off family. You might have, there are things that you turned your back on in your life because of the way they were presented to you by your family. And what that's done, okay, your guides are proud of you because that takes gumption, that takes bravery to go off on your own and say, no, I'm not accepting that. showing you what you will and will not tolerate. Some of you may be going into your Saturn return right now, which happens between the time you're 29 and 31, or 29 and 32. I can't quite remember. But anyways, if you're approaching the age of 29, you're coming into your Saturn return moment, and Saturn has this way of kind of putting parameters and restricting our behavior, putting us into like a little box or a container so that we can confront the things that we need to confront. It's always for our highest growth, always, or for our best growth. But it can be difficult, because one of the things that Saturn does is Saturn makes you go back to things that you've run away from and forces you to see them for what they are. But this is beautiful, guys, because in your case, if you walked away from a family situation that was not working for you, and you said, I'm never getting married, I'm never having kids, I'm never settling down, that life is not for me because of what my family did, I don't want to be like them. It's almost like I don't want to have children because I don't want to pass on the trauma. Well, you are in luck, because your guides are here to say, you will not pass on that trauma because you're doing the work and you are recognizing that there is a problem. And just the fact that you're recognizing that there is a problem sets you apart from the rest of your family, because you recognize it. That is huge, that you observe that there is a problem, okay? So you might want to, in addition to so I think this is what this is about. There are things that you may have said that you didn't want in your life. And I just want to say, I am not here to preach to anybody about getting married or having children. I'm a relationship anarchist, and I'm childless as of right now. I'm not like a super advocate for a traditional 2-parent household or anything like that. That being said, there are certain things that you may have said that you didn't want, and the universe just wants to ask you to kind of go back to those things and say, do I actually not want these? Or do I just not want them the way that my parents did them, or the way that my family did it? And so that's kind of the energy here, is like, okay, you say you don't want a partner. You say you're happy single. You say you don't want children. But what if you could DIY, design from scratch, your ideal marriage, partner, life, etc.? If you had that, would you want it? It's kind of like that. And they're just, and there's no judgment here, whichever way you proceed. They just want you to know that your dreams are not out of reach. And no matter how crazy you think, there's reality tunnels for every style of person, and for every style of love, and for every style of relationship. And so you can absolutely find somebody that shares your weird quirk, or wants or values your independence, or wants you, or if you want somebody that, oh yeah, this is beautiful, guys. Sorry, that just flew out of the deck and just warmed my whole heart, got me off my rant. So we got the sun popping out for you here. Okay, and the Empress in reverse for back of the deck energy. So this could be a soulmate on the horizon, the birth of a new relationship, but I think this is more about, this is a really, really sweet message, guys. The universe, through the cards, your guides, they want to tell you that you have such a sweet, nurturing, gentle, and kind heart. And I don't want to say they don't want to see it go to waste, because that's not really the energy. But it's the closest thing that I can, your precious heart is a precious heart. They want you to see your heart the way that they do. They want you to recognize how loved you are, and also just have faith that good things are a coming. And there's also a little message here that's you're not your mother. You're not going to become your mother. You're not going to become and I say mother, but it could be father, it could be aunt, it could be uncle, it could be anything, whatever this model or image that you have in your mind of what you don't want to be, and you've been scared to even admit that you don't want that, because that's how bad you do not want this to happen. They're honestly the biggest message from your guides to you are a big hug, and you are not that. Like I said, if you're ever in doubt, just the fact that you recognize that there is a problem means that you are not the problem. Because so many people are acting out, acting from places of trauma, acting from places of pain, acting from places of hurt, and just unconsciously hurting people and then going, that's not my fault. I didn't do that. Not my problem. You are actually acknowledging that pain happened, that things didn't go as they should have gone. And that in and of itself means that you've taken the biggest first step. Also, this is really funny because I don't know why this is a message that is coming through, but there also might be parts of your heart that will be unlocked in the next little bit of time that are going to surprise you about yourself. So just stay open to ideas. If you, I don't know, this is a weird message, so just roll with it, take what resonates. But there's something about the way that you normally love, or the way that you fall in love, or the way that you express yourself in love. Okay, so for instance, it's making a little bit more sense now. Okay, so say for instance, you're not a very romantic person by nature, or you thought that you weren't. You might surprise yourself during this time as you reach a point of stability, as you reflect back on different aspects of your life, as you let this sunlight into your life, as you release these, shit from your past, as you start rewriting the book of your life and rewriting manifesting your truest desires and making those a reality. You are going to be really surprised by what you find out about yourself, meaning you might actually be kind of romantic. You might think you hate flowers and you hate Valentine's Day, and you might actually like it. You may think that you're not mothering and you're not nurturing and you're not, that you don't like to spoil people, for instance. Turns out you do. There was just all these things about you that were trapped, under this trauma. So this is a really exciting time for you. All right, I'm going to read you your oracle card. We will do one more kind of look at it here. It is card 13. Dragon load of dense shit. Time for energy clearing. Okay. And then also, yeah, I thought so. Okay, so 13 is also is the death card. So the other thing that's going on here, and it's so weird because I was getting death card vibe energy when I threw that out, but that was probably because of the number. Anyways, this is a final thing. So I know that you've gone through a lot of instability and chaos and confusion and just unsettledness in your life. Well, that's over now. The cards, your guides, they're all saying it's not going to go back to the way that it was. You don't have to worry about that. This stability that you're feeling now, you've been at your job for some of you have been at your job for the longest you've ever been. Some of you have been your longest period in a relationship. Some of you, this is your longest period living in one place, staying in one place. They're saying you can relax. There's another thing with complex PTSD where you're always kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. You can't quite relax because you're always on guard, expecting things to turn out poorly. And the other message here that they really want to impart to you is no, you don't have to worry anymore. That phase, that stage of your life is done. That chaos, that instability, unless you consciously choose it. But your unconscious desires, your trauma script is removing itself from your life. So you don't have to worry about that anymore. All right. Card 13, Dragon Load of Dense Shit. Time for an energy clearing. This is the Naughty Oracle, by the way, by Naomi Beth. Clear yourself now. You are full to the brim of dense, dark, crappy shit, and your protective dragon soul cannot deal with all of this bullshit anymore. Start to let it all go and heal it and transmute it into light. Do the work that is needed to make this happen. Go outside and let nature help you clear it, and clear yourself by exercising your own way. Dance, jump up and down, and be silly. Cry, scream, punch a pillow. Fucking let it all go. Learn to heal yourself. Learn to do Reiki or some other energy healing method, and do it daily until you feel better. Get back into your own daily rituals to make yourself feel better. Now, and yeah, I do agree with that, guys, but also I just want to clarify that this is an oracle that has really intense messaging, obviously. You don't have to worry about this being like something that you need to do right now. There's a lot of urgency in this message. It's not that urgent. In a lot of ways, this process is happening whether you are connecting with it or not. So you can definitely, this is like a wave that is coming into your life, and you can totally capitalize on this wave and ride this wave and like do the extra work. But you don't have to like stress yourself out like you have to figure it out right now or anything like that. It'd just be a good time to explore some of these things if you want to. All right, and feel free to jot these down, pause the video, jot them down. These are the questions. I recommend that when you do these questions, you set a timer and you free write. So for each question, set a timer for like 10 minutes and just don't let your pen or pencil up from the page. Just write, and get it all out. You'll be surprised at what comes out if you do that. What work do I need to do to safely and lovingly clear my soul? Do I need to ask someone else for help? How do I break from the destructive pattern of becoming fully loaded with shit until I explode? So these are going to be great for you. I highly encourage you to do the questions. Now, here's your affirmations. You're welcome to say these out loud with me, or you can comment them down below also if you'd like to do so, or you can copy them down in your journal or something. I command if anyone anywhere is sending me anything good or bad to return it to sender with love and consciousness. I command if I have taken on anybody else's stuff to remove it from my body and being in all dimensions and all directions of time and space. Transmute it to the light. I am the purest light, clear of any and all density and darkness. I am light source energy. And so on page 34 and 35, that might be significant to you. That might be the age that you are, that this is really going to like come into play, or it might be age of people in your life. I'm not sure. Anyways, all right. Well, this is really exciting, guys. I am so happy for you. This is going to be amazing. Truly, truly, truly amazing. You are on a very well-supported, well-loved, and well-crafted path. So that's all I have for you today, Pisces. It was a privilege to be able to read your cards. I really appreciate you letting me read your cards and hang out with your energy and your spirit guides. So sweet. It was really, really fun for me, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. If there's anything you'd like to chat about, if you have comments or anything, feel free to drop them down below. And if you liked the video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. And if you liked the content, then subscribe to the channel. I try to post zodiac readings every day. So that being said, I will see you next time. Bye.